let's talk about the upcoming games really quick and how they may fit into this list that we have right now. Because we've got upcoming games, big ones that are going to be big for creators potentially, that will fit into a lot of different categories. And none of the big upcoming games that we know about are social games. These aren't the kinds of games that are going to be promoted with big trailers and everybody's going to flip out, right? There are upcoming shooters. Obviously, Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be a shooter, but the RPG element comes out this year. The multiplayer element won't even come out until 2022. So we're not looking at an actual Cyberpunk shooter, really, for years. Halo Infinite delayed indefinitely. Maybe it's 2021, maybe it's 2022. And we don't even know if we're going to get the multiplayer for that game next year. It might be 2022 and beyond. So there actually isn't a big shooter on the horizon to look forward to. The only thing that we can really count on there is the next Call of Duty. Now, in terms of open world games, obviously Cyberpunk is going to fit the bill. Halo is going to fit the bill. And it's interesting that those games are moving in or are pushing in that direction, because GTA 5 has stayed on the top 10 games list forever. And is it possible to dethrone a game like GTA 5 with something that may be a superior game or equivalent game like Cyberpunk 2077? Can Halo Infinite do it? Have we ever seen a historical example of a game being #1 in its genre in terms of streaming and then being dethroned?
I haven't. It may have happened, but if it has, that's not going to be a repeat case with Grand Theft Auto, no matter what the game is. It's Grand Theft Auto. And we also have to take a look at this when we're talking about this certain scenario. We have to take a look at the sales numbers. Since GTA came out in 2013 and then the next year, 2014, on next gen, it has been a top 10 seller for all but maybe 1 month in 2018. So people are still buying it. That means people are still going to play it. I don't see Grand Theft Auto getting tossed off the list. I can see a scenario when Cyberpunk comes out, they're like #2, #3 or something. Grand Theft Auto is like 7 or 8. GTA is never, well, at least for the foreseeable future, because they're even releasing new content for that game on next gen. It's not going anywhere. It's Grand Theft Auto. It's like the staple of the streaming community in a way.
So the only thing that'll dethrone Grand Theft Auto 5 is Grand Theft Auto 6. That's the only thing.
Good call.
Cyberpunk isn't the same. You're not getting the same thing from Cyberpunk, and you're not getting the same thing from Halo Infinite. They're not in the same. I don't put them in the same category as Grand Theft Auto. The reason Grand Theft Auto 5 is still on this list and is still high up on Facebook Gaming as well is because of its modability and what's been going on with the modding community, with putting together big RP servers with big streaming talents on there. Over time, the modding community has created additional experiences with that game that allows it to continue to stay on the top of the list. So modding is keeping that alive. And I don't know what CD Projekt Red has said about Cyberpunk. I don't know if it's going to be modded or not. I do know that Witcher 3 had some ability to be modded and they kept it open there, but it wasn't anything like, let's say like a Skyrim or something like that. I just don't think they're in the same category. I don't think even if multiplayer were to come into Cyberpunk 2077, which you said like will be like a year after its release, I still don't think it will dethrone Grand Theft Auto 5, just because Grand Theft Auto 5 has this new place with its RP servers that's really far along, and Cyberpunk won't be there. That's not Grand Theft Auto's pull anymore. Now its pull is this interesting, unique watching a streamer role play characters in the game. Are we going to see that with Cyberpunk? I don't know, maybe, but I don't think for the next year or so we're going to have anything close to that.
I agree. I think so. Everybody who's interested in Cyberpunk 2077, this is going to be a spike trend game. Where it comes out, it will be the biggest thing that month. It'll be maybe #1, possibly, on the report for that month. And then it'll just basically vaporize after that. Maybe the next month it'll be #11, and then it'll go away. But the game isn't going to pop in terms of streaming until multiplayer comes out. It's at least 2022. It might be beyond that. CD Projekt Red's going to take their time. They're going to make sure that multiplayer is solid before they go multiplayer. So Cyberpunk, I don't think, is going to be a major factor in terms of streaming at all. Unless we see some sort of crazy cultural phenomenon, like you're saying, with role-playing, or unless Cyberpunk 2077 single player is so compelling and there's so much content and so much to do in the game that it makes it so dense that you could maybe stretch it out for up to 6 months of exploring it and completing it. Probably not. So Cyberpunk's going to be a spike trend, and then it's going to vaporize in terms of streaming. We have never seen, not ever, a game emerge and dethrone the king of that genre in any of these genres. League of Legends has always been the king of MOBAs and always will be. World of Warcraft has always been the king of MMORPGs and always will be. And Fortnite is the king of shooters and always will be. It just is. Like, new games come out, they're more popular temporarily, and then look at the freaking list. Oh, Fortnite pops to the top again. It's number one, and nothing will ever dethrone it because we've never seen an example of a game that is king of a genre get dethroned.